Well, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, the 14th of January. We're almost halfway through the week. Well, we are halfway through the week and almost halfway through January. And thank you so much for joining me. It's a beautiful day this morning, 42 degrees outside and not too windy. So it was really kind of. I didn't go out much earlier this week when it was 90-mile-an-hour wind. I just don't like it when it's that windy. But when it's not windy, it's actually quite nice out. So I was out. So in the wintertime, I walk mostly on streets in Vail. And in the summertime, I can go into Santa Creek Preserve. It doesn't make any sense to go into the preserve in the wintertime when it's dark. But I mean, it's dark when you leave. It's dark when you come back. It's dark right now. Yeah, it's quite dark right now. Although, yeah, it's completely pitch dark outside. But I was walking along Colossal Cave, the road this morning, and the train gate had come down and was flashing. And I mean, it does that all the time because trains are coming, but there's no train coming. And I was walking up Colossal Cave Road or down, I was walking south along Colossal Cave Road, and I got up to the train, and there's not a train anywhere. And sometimes that'll happen when somebody's getting on and off the track. Well, one of those trucks with the wheels on it, with the train wheels on it. That wasn't one of those either. And so, people were kind of bypassing the gate, right? Because they're like, "Hey, there's no train coming. I'm going to try this." And so, I walked, and I was coming back through, and the train tracks are still down, and people are, just bypassing this warning. And I'm like, "This is not good." So I called 911 and told them about it, and they said they'd send a sheriff. I have no idea if they did or not, because after. I did walk up and down I have to tell you a story. Can I tell you this story? All right. I'm sorry about this. It's going to delay it a little bit. But years and years and years and years ago, when I was in high school, I did land surveying, and my father owned an engineering company, and I would go out and do land surveying. Land surveying, you have a transit, which measures the angle, or a German theodolite, which would measure angles, but it'd be a little bit, they had, all the stuff was internal and had optics, so you could get a more accurate angle. And then you measure distance with what you called a chain. And the reason why it was called a chain is because originally it was actually a chain. It had 100 links in it, and they would measure, I think it was 100 links. I never used it. Chain. This was back in the 1800s when they first started surveying. They used actual with links in it. But by the time that we came along, they called it a chain. But what it was a metal, a very, very highly calibrated metal distance measuring. I mean, it's like a cloth tape measurer, but it was made out of a chain. It's 300 feet long. You'd sit there and wind it up. Anyway, so this is how you measured angles and distances, was with this equipment. And we were once measuring, I was out measuring across a railroad track. And so we look one direction, we look the other direction, there's no train coming, let's quick measure this distance across the railroad track. So we're measuring the distance, guy goes across, you have a head chainman and a rear chainman, both of them are measure, one holds the distance on one end, one holds the distance on the other end. Go across the railroad track, this chain, this metal chain touches both rails. And all of a sudden, ding, 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 ding. Oh no, there's a train coming. Let's get off. We get off. As soon as we get off the train track, it goes up again. And we're like, where's the train? Well, quick, let's measure this distance. So we go ding, 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 ding. About the third time, we realized that what indicates to the electronics of the train is that when you break the contact, or when you add a metal contact between the two rails, it brings the thing down. So we're out there testing it out. But this is the coolest thing. High school students learning about the inner working of, I don't know if it still does that or not. Anyway, that was pretty funny. So this morning, when the tracks are down and there's no train coming, I walked kind of both directions to see if maybe there was some random piece of metal that had somehow fallen on the train tracks and was short-circuiting the two rails of the train track. I couldn't find anything, so that's when I called 911. All right, that's a long story. As far as today goes, it's a beautiful day. It's 42 degrees outside is what it said on the thermometer before I left this morning. Birthdays, we have no birthdays today. I'm going to close that out. And we'll get some Supreme Court rulings today. Looking forward to that. All right, let's get into our study. We are so close to the promised land. I can taste it. We are in Numbers chapter 34. And in Numbers chapter 34, the Lord's going to tell Moses the boundaries of the promised land. So let's start reading. The Lord said to Moses, "Command the Israelites and say to them, when you enter Canaan, the land that you will be allotted to you as an inheritance is to have these boundaries." And so they're going into Canaan. Now, Canaan is the name of the land where Jacob came from. If you'll remember, Abraham came from Ur, which is, I think it's kind of like up by Iran, Iraq, somewhere in that area. He comes into the promised land. He comes into Canaan. And they live in Canaan for a while, and then there's a drought, a famine in Canaan, and they go to Egypt. But now they're going back to Canaan. So Canaan apparently is the promised land. They're now going to get the boundaries of it. And maybe Moses has known all along where the boundaries are, but now God tells Moses, these are the boundaries. And it's basically in Canaan. And Canaan is roughly the land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea, kind of in that area centered around Samaria, Jerusalem. All right. These are the boundaries. Your southern side will include some of the desert of Zin along the border of Edom. Your southern boundary will start in the east from the southern end of the Dead Sea, cross south of Scorpion Pass, continue on to Zin, and go south of Kadesh Barnea. And then it will go to Hazar Adar and over to Asmon, where it will turn, join the Wadi of Egypt, and end at the Mediterranean Sea. Your western boundary will be the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. This will be your boundary to the west. For your northern boundary, run a line from the Mediterranean Sea to Mount Hor, and from Mount Hor to Lebo Hamath. Then the boundary will go to Zedad. Continue to Ziphron and end at Hazar Enon. This will be your boundary to the north. For your eastern boundary, run a line from Hazar Enon to Shephem. The boundary will go down from Shephem to Riblah on the east side of Ain and continue along the slopes east of the Sea of Galilee. And then the boundary will go down along the Jordan and end at the Dead Sea. This will be your land with its boundaries on every side. So this is a legal description. This is your property. This is what I'm bequeathing to you. And he gives you the western boundary, the southern boundary, the northern boundary, eastern boundary. And it is roughly, I try to see if I could find a map. Let's see if I can find that map. I mean, let's see. Let's look at this one. So basically, the Wadi of Egypt, right? That's kind of where the headwaters of the Nile come in. So kind of go there. You go through the wilderness of Zin. You come up to the sea, the Dead Sea. You go up the Jordan River, up to the Sea of Galilee. You go up to this mountain. Where's the rest of the? Oh, there we go. Yeah. You go up to the mountain, Mount Hor, and then you come up over to the Mediterranean Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So this is roughly the boundary of the Promised Land. And here are the tribes of Israel, and they kind of follow. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the Jordan River demarcates the boundaries of the Promised Land, but part of the tribes of Egypt, Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh, end up on the east side of the Jordan River. So that's the boundary. And this is the land that God gives to the Israelites. Let's see. Let's just continue reading, and then I want to talk about it a little bit. So, verse 13. Moses commanded the Israelites, assign this land by lot as an inheritance. The Lord has ordered that it be given to the 9.5 tribes, because the families of the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad and half tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance. These 2.5 tribes will receive their inheritance east of the Jordan, across from Jericho toward the sunrise. The Lord said to Moses, these are the names of the men who are to assign the land for you as an inheritance: Eleazar the priest and Joshua son of Nun. And appoint one leader from each tribe to help assign the land. And these are their names: Caleb, son of Jephunneh, from the tribe of Judah; Shemuel, son of Ammihud, from the tribe of Simeon; Elidad, son of Kislon, from the tribe of Benjamin; Buki, son of Jogli, the leader of the tribe of Dan; Haniel, son of Ephod, the leader of the tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph; Kemuel, son of Shifton, the leader of the tribe of Ephraim, son of Joseph; Eliphan, son of Parnak, the leader from the tribe of Zebulun; Paltiel, son of Azan, the leader of the tribe of Issachar; Ahihud, son of Shalomi, the leader of the tribe of Asher; Pedahel, son of Ammihud, the leader from the tribe of Naphtali. These are the men the Lord commanded to assign the inheritance to the Israelites in the land of Canaan. All right. So those are the people. So we now have the land. We now have the land, and we have the leaders that are going to distribute the land equitably, and it's going to be done by a lot. So they're going to kind of divide up the land, and then they'll draw lots to see who goes into what land. Some land is going to have forests in it. Some land is going to have water in it. Some land's going to have flat soil that would be good for agriculture. Some will have soils that may not be good for agriculture. And how do you equitably decide who gets what land? I mean, do you give the oldest to give the best land to the oldest and work your way down, or the youngest and work your way up, or do it by lot? And it sounds like God wants to do it by lot. And God, of course, is in charge of the lot. He can control all things, including a lottery. And so when they draw lots or draw sticks, or however that is that they decide how they're going to do this, what appears to be random to the people who are actually doing it, it isn't random to God. God's in control of all things, so he ultimately makes the decision. And you can't go against God. So you can be angry about it, but this is what you have to accept. Now, I just want to spend a little bit, let me just spend a few minutes talking about the Promised Land. Because it's a large area. And I would say that I've never been to Israel, but I've seen pictures. And other than sorrel cactuses, it reminds me very, very much of southern Arizona. I think we're in the same climate, and we have similar ground cover, and we have similar elevation, and we have similar mountains. I think that it's very, very, very similar. We're not talking about Iceland. We're not talking about Greenland. We're not talking about the tropics. We're not talking about the Amazon River or the rainforests. We're talking about a land that is very, very similar to southern Arizona, actually. And the mountains that surround Tucson would be very similar to the mountains that you might find in the Promised Land. This is, I have not been to the Promised Land, so I can't say this for sure. But when I look at pictures, this is the image that I get, is that we are very, very similar here in Tucson to what the promised land might look like. And if that's the case, I believe that the promised land is very beautiful because I think that southern Arizona is very beautiful. Some people do not find southern Arizona very beautiful. Some people like pine trees. Some people like thick, dense vegetation. Some people like lots of lakes. There are not very many lakes in southern Arizona. But for whatever reason, I find southern Arizona to be just absolutely stunningly beautiful. When I lived in Denver, Colorado, I found the mountains of Colorado to be very beautiful. When I lived in St. Louis, I found St. Louis to be very beautiful. And here's the weird thing. I think that you find beauty where you live. You find wherever God places you. I think you can create beauty and surround yourself with beauty if you simply have the right heart. And that's although I would find it very, very challenging to live in Greenland, where it's icy all the time and snow all the time, and some of the coldest places on Earth, right? Siberia, some of those up north. I would have a hard time living there and finding beauty, but I'm sure that if I was forced to live there and learned how to live there, learned how to survive, I might find beauty in just the simple serenity of the snow. I remember when it snowed in Denver, and it would stop snowing, or even as it's snowing, you go outside and it's just so quiet, and the moon would shine in the snow, and there is beauty in that. I mean, there's incredible beauty in that. So maybe that's where the beauty is in Yakutsk, which is the coldest place in the world, right? -70 degrees. You go out to Yakutsk after snow, and if it doesn't kill you, you get to see the moon and the northern lights and the reflections on the snow. I mean, there really truly is beauty. So the thing is that I believe that even though they're all different, all these locations are different, when God assigns it to you, you find beauty in it because it's your home. And you begin to see it as your home, and you love it because it's your home, and there is no other place that's going to go. So you create home and you create beauty. And as the Israelites start to live in the Promised Land and start to make it their home, there's also this sense of a heritage that makes it theirs. One of the questions that one wrestles with is this promised land still, does it still belong to people whose lineage goes back all the way to Abraham? Let's go farther. Or go farther down the tree. Let's say to Jacob, the 12 tribes. If your lineage, if you can trace your lineage back down to the 12 tribes, does this land belong to you? And here's one of the challenges with that, is that over time, everybody, I mean, when you start going down multiple generations, 50, 100 generations, everybody has some sort of lineage in them from somewhere, right? I mean, there's just a lot of cross-population, unless you have a tribe that never cross-pollinates with any other people. Everybody has lineage somewhere. Maybe it's just the people who follow God. Well, we find out that the people didn't follow God very well. They had the Torah, but the people of Israel had good kings that followed the Torah and bad kings that didn't follow the Torah, and they allowed foreign gods to come in. And I mean, the question is, does the promised land still belong to the people who say we are the true descendants of Jacob. And the reason we're the true descendants is because we follow the Torah, and this is our land. And the one thing that I think should be brought into the discussion is that what made the people of God wasn't the land, but that God had given them the law to live by, and they didn't live by the law. We think that a land flowing with milk and honey is because there's good water or good soil or good climate. And though in many respects there is good land, good water, good soil, not everybody got it, but some did get pieces of it. But what truly made it a land flowing with milk and honey was that God gave them a place to live and the law. That if they would simply follow the law, God would bless them immensely. The law is something that people can gather around and follow. And when you truly do follow the law, which was summarized by Jesus as love God, love your neighbor, life goes well for you. And when you don't follow the law, it all falls apart. And it's more about the law than it is about the land, if you ask me. Obviously, you need a place to call home. But we saw that the Israelites were in the desert for 40 years, and what bonded them together wasn't a place, but God's law. And they need to remember that. It's not what makes it a land flowing with milk and honey is that they're the chosen of God. And God's given them a law to follow. And if they simply follow the law, life will go well. They just simply don't follow the law. They pervert the whole thing. So this is the people that will decide who is going to get what. And they will divide the troops. They'll divide the tribes looking like this. That happens eventually. And you have some on the east side of the Jordan River and some on the west side of the Jordan River. Judah, Judah, around this area is where Jerusalem is. You go up north, you get Samaria, and you go farther up north, up here in the tribe, and this is where Galilee is. This is where Jesus did his ministry. He grew up in Nazareth, Jesus from Nazareth. They came down for the census and to Bethlehem, and they went down to Egypt to get away from Herod, and then they came back to Nazareth, and that's where Jesus grew up. And it's all still part of the promised land. All right. I think we'll leave it there. We're getting very, very close to the end of this. And so let's close in prayer. Gracious God, thank you for the blessings that you give us. And what draws us together is your son, Jesus. And it's in his name we pray. Amen. Another thing that, is it time to talk about it? When we get to Lent this year, wherever we are in Lent, in the Bible study, we're going to stop and put a pin in it, and then we're going to do 40 days of Lent, and then we're going to pick up the pin after Easter. So I just want to make you aware that wherever we are going to do a pause. And the hope is that you will join, and maybe other people will come and pick up and join us as we go through this 40-day thing. We're going to call it the 40-day challenge, perhaps. And it'll be a lot of fun, and you'll enjoy it. So just so you know, that's coming up. We are into week 3 of our pre-Lenten sermon series. And then we have 40 days of Lent. It's actually 5 weeks of Lent. And then we get into Easter. And then we're post-Easter. But anyway, we got some exciting stuff coming up, I guess is what I want to say. All right. So I hope you have a great day. And thank you so much for joining me. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. God's blessing. Oh, wait. Yeah, good morning. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.